Joshua. Chapter 15. Verse 1. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, according to its clans, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin in the extreme south. Verse 2. Their southern boundary started from the bay at the southern end of the Dead Sea. Verse 3. Crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it ran past Hezron up to Adar and curved around to Karka. Verse 4. It then passed along to Asmon and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. Verse 5. The eastern boundary is the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started from the Bay of the Sea at the mouth of the Jordan. Verse 6. Went up to Beth Hogla and continued north of Beth Arabah to the stone of Boan son of Reuben. Verse 7. The boundary then went up to Debir from the valley of Achor and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the pass of Adumim south of the gorge. It continued along to the waters of En-Shemesh and came out at En-Rogel. Verse 8. Then it ran up the valley of Ben-Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is, Jerusalem. From there it climbed to the top of the hill west of the Hinnom Valley at the northern end of the Valley of Rephaim. Verse 9. From the hilltop the boundary headed toward the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, came out at the towns of Mount Ephron and went down toward Baalah, that is, Kiriath Jearim. Verse 10. Then it curved westward from Baalah to Mount Seir, ran along the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, continued down to Beth Shemesh and crossed to Timnah. Verse 11. It went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned towards Shikkeron, passed along to Mount Baalah and reached Jabneel. The boundary ended at the sea. Verse 12. The western boundary is the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. These are the boundaries around the people of Judah by their clans. Verse 13. In accordance with the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave to Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the forefather of Anak. Verse 14. From Hebron Caleb drove out the 3 Anakites, Sheshai, Ahiman and Talmai, the sons of Anak. Verse 15. From there he marched against the people living in Debir, formerly called Kiriath Sepher. Verse 16. And Caleb said, I will give my daughter Achsah in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Verse 17. Othniel son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it. So Caleb gave his daughter Achsah to him in marriage. Verse 18. One day when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? Quote. Verse 19. She replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. Verse 20. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah, according to its clans. Verse 21. The southernmost towns of the tribe of Judah in the Negev toward the boundary of Edom were Kabzeel, Eder, Jaggah. Verse 22. Kinnah, Dimonah, Adada. Verse 23. Kedesh, Hazor, Ithnan. Verse 24. Ziph, Telem, Beleth. Verse 25. Hazor Hadattah, Kerioth Hezron, that is, Hazor. Verse 26. Ammam, Shema, Malada. Verse 27. Hazar Gaddah, Heshmon, Beth Pelet. Verse 28. Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziathiah. Verse 29. Bala, Ayim, Ezem. Verse 30. Eltolad, Kezel, Hormah. Verse 31. Ziklag, Madmannah, Sanzanah. Verse 32. Labi, Shilhim, An and Rimmon. A total of 29 towns and their villages. Verse 33. In the western foothills. Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna. Verse 34. Zanoah, En-Ganim, Tappuah, Anam. Verse 35. Jarmuth, Adullam, Soko, Azekah. Verse 36. Shaaraim, Adathaim and Gederah, or Gederothaim. 14 towns and their villages. Verse 37. Zenon, Hadashah, Migdal-Gad. Verse 38. Dilian, Mitzpah, Joktheel. Verse 39. Lachish, Boshkath, Eglon. Verse 40. Kaban, Lamas, Kitlish. Verse 41. Gederoth, Beth Dagon, Naamah and Makkedah. 16 towns and their villages. Verse 42. Libnah, Ether, Ashan. Verse 43. Iphta, Ashna, Nezeb. Verse 44. Keilah, Akzib and Marashah. 9 towns and their villages. Verse 45. Ekron, with its surrounding settlements and villages. Verse 46. West of Ekron, all that were in the vicinity of Ashdod, together with their villages. Verse 47. Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages. And Gaza, its settlements and villages, as far as the Wadi of Egypt and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. Verse 48. In the hill country. Shamir, Jatir, Soko. Verse 49. Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is, Debir. Verse 50. Anab, Eshtemo, Anam. Verse 51. Goshen, Holon and Gilo. 11 towns and their villages. Verse 52. Arab, Duma, Eshan. Verse 53. Janam, Beth Tappuah, Aphekah. Verse 54. Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, and Zior. 9 towns and their villages. Verse 55. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Jutah. Verse 56. Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah. Verse 57. Cain, Gibeah and Timnah. 10 towns and their villages. Verse 58. Halal, Beth Zur, Gedor. Verse 59. Marath, Beth Anath and Eltekon. 6 towns and their villages. Verse 60. Kiriath Baal, that is, Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah. 2 towns and their villages. Verse 61. In the wilderness. Beth Arabah, Middon, Skaka. Verse 62. Nibshan, the city of salt and En-Gedi. 6 towns and their villages. Verse 63. Judah could not dislodge the Jebusites, who were living in Jerusalem. To this day the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah.